Hello everybody, and welcome back to another fun-filled lesson brought to you by yours truly, Daniel Jones, lead educator and headmaster at Magick School 2012. Now, today we're going to be talking about Holy Magick 1 class. I'm going to go over the lesson with you, and then I will go over this week's homework for a particular lesson. So, in Holy Magick 1 class, for the first lesson, first thing we're going to do together is we're going to discuss the book of Genesis in the Bible, particularly chapter 6, verses 1 through 22. Now, these verses cover particularly the Nephilim, and then there are several other verses in the Bible that cover beings like Nimrod and the Nephilim. But for now, just for this particular point in time, we're going to go ahead and focus on Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 through 22. Now, everybody will need to go to www.bible.com/search?Q=Nimrod, capital N-I-M as in mother, R-O-D as in dog. Now, in the search bar, next to the wording that says YouVersion, I need you guys to go ahead and type in Nimrod. Now, taken straight from the New King James Version, Genesis 10:9, he was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore, it is said, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. 1 Chronicles 1:10 out of the New King James Version. Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one upon the earth. Now, who was Nimrod? Nimrod was supposedly the king of Babylon, ancient Babylon. Now, ancient Babylon is supposedly the place where the Nephilim would have fallen from heaven and mostly used it as a centrifuge for gathering. Nimrod being the king Nephilim, or the king of the Nephilim at that point, or the Nephilim king, helped build the Tower of Babel. In legend, it states that the Tower of Babel was supposed to be a tower that would reach all the way to heaven, and it was built by Nimrod and his fellow Nephilims and Anunnaki, Anunnaki being fallen angel. The Anunnaki are the ones who actually bred with the daughters of man to create the Nephilim. The Anunnaki and the Nephilim built this tower because they were trying to get to heaven to protest the decisions and the word of God himself. Now, the reason why the Nephilim and Nimrod and beings like that are so important when it comes to discussing holy magic is because throughout history, you find Nephilim all over. Fallen angels, they call them by many names: gods, aliens, the little grays. To speak of one is to speak of the other. But what's most interesting is that throughout history, most of the legends sound pretty similar to each other. Many of the only differences being names of the beings in question. Other than that, the stories stay the same, the magic is the same, the theories are the same. And Nimrod was supposedly supposed to have been many people throughout history, like the god Amun-Ra, several important deities and people. And when you follow Nimrod, the only thing, and the Nephilim, which is why they're so important when in discussing holy magic. When you follow beings like that and you research them and discuss them, pretty much the only thing that usually comes up is magic. The fact that the Nephilim, the 200 plus angels, quote unquote, who fell from heaven, are actually the original educators of the sons and daughters of man in the means of magic and weapons and war, sciences and alchemy, astronomy, fine arts, things of that nature, makeup and concealment, which is kind of bigoted if you ask me. But beyond that, that's pretty much the only story that really holds true when it comes to the Nephilim and beings like the Anunnaki and Nimrod, is that they were very magical beings, or they were beings that were so supernatural that normal humans just could not fathom the amount of power that these individual beings possessed. Now, in www.wikipedia.org, when you go to that website, you need to type into your search bar Nimrod, King of the Nephilim. Or just type in Nimrod. Now, whenever you get your search results for Nimrod, you want the second listing from the top. It says, oh no, excuse me. Okay, crap. No, it seems I was wrong about that one, guys. Don't worry about that. I can go ahead and fill you guys in from here, and I will update on YouTube or the website proper links to search for Nimrod. But as it stands, Nimrod is found all over the Bible. He was the Nephilim king. He was the king of ancient Babylon, and he helped build the Tower of Babylon that was supposed to pierce into heaven itself. Now, according to legend, the great flood that happened in the time of Noah and his family is the reason why the Nephilim were mostly wiped out from the earth. Now, according to the Bible, there were some Nephilim that were allowed to remain in this world. That was mostly a decision of God, and according to legend, or according to the Bible, the line of David is supposedly the people who last fought with Nephilim and finally brought about the destruction of the supposed destruction of the race of Nephilim. Now, in theory, some of them were still bound within the earth until the time of the Judgment Day. I believe the United States government and several other governments around the world have probably located these beings if they are truly in existence. I believe we may have one beneath Hoover Dam. I believe we may probably have one located somewhere inside Area 51. I believe several other underground bases and facilities like NORAD and the like have probably managed to gain and maintain sufficient control over these space-time dimensional breaching beings known as Nephilim or Anunnaki. Some will call them aliens, some will call them angels. It's really up for you to decide. My best advice is to go through google.com, wikipedia.org, and research Nephilim, Nimrod, King Nimrod, anything to do with Nephilim, and you will find the answers that you're looking for. Now, according to legend, and I'm going to try to wrap up the discussion of the Nephilim as quickly as I can, because we have a couple other topics about them to cover. But in the history of the Nephilim, the way to bind them is by means of iron and copper magically infused bonds. Supposedly these were magic bands that were placed around the literal bodies of the Nephilim and the Anunnaki when they were placed within their graves. Now, some of these creatures have been dug up and unearthed around places in the world, or in places around the world, excuse me. And some skeptics will say that the size of the creatures is too large, and the heads are heads of elephants and bears and other things. I believe they're wrong. Again, that's for you to decide, but I believe they're wrong. I believe we are coming to a point in our existence as human beings where whether or not these creatures are of alien descent or of heavenly descent, neither of which matters, we will come in contact with them once more. If we have truly in the past, it will happen again. One reason being that the evidence of their existence is too prominent. The other reason being is that we as human beings may actually in fact descend from the Anunnaki and the Nephilim themselves. There are certain trait features that come with humans that did not exist before a certain time in history. Most of these features are consistent with the true Caucasian human. Blue eyes, green eyes, hazel eyes, blonde or red hair, very pale skin, rhesus negative blood type factor, a predisposition to psychic ability, seriously overstressed anger issues, and other small features that are hitherto unnecessary to describe. These were traits and features that were most commonly placed with the beings that are called the Anunnaki, or the fallen ones. If you believe in that theory, then they have managed to leave a lot of their proof of existence within us, within human beings. If this is true, then their power resides within us as well. If we have the power of the Nephilim and the Anunnaki, that means that we truly are connected, and we are connected by a divine spark. And if that is true, that also means that we all have the ability to access it. The only problem is we have lost our knowledge on how to do so. Further on in this class, we will be discussing methods and means of summoning your true Nephilim power. I myself am working on spells and ceremonial practice work that will hopefully enable us all to begin to unlock the true powers of the divine spark within us. It's more than magic. It's more than myth and legend. If God truly exists, then we are either all Him in a collective conscience, or destiny is key and nothing happens for a pointless reason. Pointless reason isn't a reason. It's up to you to decide. Now, as to that, I will conclude the discussion on Genesis, chapters 6, verses 1 through 22. We need to move on, we have also covered Nimrod. Now we need to cover him a little bit more. He was known by many names. Nimrod, the Nephilim king. Some may have called him Zeus. Some may have called him Abaddon. Some may have called him several things. Nimrod was a giant whenever he was born. His stature was well above that of a normal, even 6-foot man. Theory states whenever Nimrod and his family were alive, they were consumers of flesh and blood. Now, taking that belief and probing a little bit farther into other magical belief systems with it, it would make a lot of sense, mostly because the belief of the Bible and the belief of even witchcraft states that blood has power. Now, when you look at the Bible, God created us. He created everything about us, if that's how you believe. In that sense, He even created our blood that flows through our veins, the very last fiber of hair on our fingertips. Now, I may or may not be a little bit skeptical about those particular beliefs, but fact is, if you believe in that, that's how that happened. So, Nimrod and his family and all the Anunnaki and the Nephilims actually consuming flesh and blood makes a lot of sense because it's life force. It is manna. It is the true bio mass matter of the universe, or excuse me, not the universe, that's a little pompous, of this particular solar system. You know, as far as we humans know, we are the only living organisms within our solar system. Now, I believe that is not a solid fact, but that's as far as we know. And so, it would make sense for them to have consumed us to some degree. Another reason why God may have been so angry with the mess that was going on here on Earth during the times of the Nephilim, another reason why He may or may not have flooded the world. Now, there are many ancient beliefs and religions and stories of a great flood in a great area of the known world at that time. That did not include America, as far as I understand. If it did, it was not. It was definitely not in the shape that it is now. So it may or may not have included all of the land mass of the greater Americas. It did not include other parts of the world that weren't really there because they were not known about. So where does that leave us, is the question. When you look at things like the apocalypse and revelations, and you know, where does that leave us? What's going to happen to us? Are we the exception? Is this where the Nephilim are going to come back to hide? Are we the new Babylon? Or is it Rome? Is it Benedict the 16th or whatever he is? You know, I have personal conflicted issues about him, but that's my beliefs. Anyway, moving on from Nimrod, the Nephilim king. Fact is he did many things in his life, many more than we can really afford to cover at this point. Last but not least, before I start to go over the homework, we're going to start a class project for this particular video week's lesson, however you want to put that. The class project is going to be to create a collage. It can be digital or corporeal, doesn't matter. Create a collage. And in this collage, I want you all to piece together all the different types of magic throughout history and give a pictographical or written description of each particular practice. We will go over the reasons why this collage is going to be created in the next lesson after I've seen your design ideas and you've submitted an image of beginning the collage. It will be pertinent at the end of the week, and it will be submitted for a grade. Now, last but not least, we are going to go over homework. Homework for this lesson. First thing I want you guys to do is go back to www.wikipedia.org, and you need to research Nimrod, the Nephilim king. Type in whatever you have to type to find out information about Nimrod. Again, that's spelled capital N as in Nevada, I, M as in mother, R, O, D as in Delta. We will be discussing him further in the next lesson. Now, also, homework assignment number 2. I want you all to write a type. You'll be submitting it, so you can write it on your own or write it right to the website, whatever you want to do. I ask usually that you keep records of all of your submitted work, so it's better to type something first on like WordPad and then copy paste or whatever you need to do. But I want you to write a 5-paragraph essay on the origin of holy magic. Again, the origin of holy magic. It is going to need to be handed in by next lesson, preferably before, because I'd like to be able to get it graded. That way I can email you your results and I can go over them with you all one by one in the next lesson. Should probably span about 45 minutes, but that's alright. We'll get everything covered. Last but not least, I want you all to go to www.youtube.com/watch?V=L P5 k, capital N Nevada, capital P, lowercase t as in thank you, capital K, capital G, lowercase n Nevada, lowercase k. I want you to watch the video, which we will discuss together in the next lesson. I think, and forgive me, everybody, anybody under the age of 18 needs to have their parent view this video before and get permission. And once they have got permission, view the video, and we will discuss it together in the next lesson. For now, that wraps up today's discussion of Holy Magic 1 class, again brought to you by yours truly, Daniel Jones, lead educator and headmaster at Magic School 2012 on the web, located at www.greysmagicschool, that's capital G as in golf, R-E-Y, apostrophe S, capital M as in mother, A-G-I-C-K, capital S-C-H-O-O-L, .webs.com. greysmagicschool2012.webs.com. Forget the 2012 part. greysmagicschool.webs.com. We've recently transferred sites. I think this one will be a little bit better because everybody will be able to log in, and I'll actually be able to keep a record of everybody without having to do everything on 2 separate sites. So once again, greysmagicschool.webs.com. Alright, thank you everybody. I appreciate your time and effort and hope to see your submitted lessons excuse me, and work soon. Have a wonderful day, and as always, blessed be.